Hello, humane marketers. Sarah Znakrocha here. Welcome to another episode of the Humane Marketing Podcast, a place to be for the generation of marketers who cares. This is the show where we talk about marketing your business in a way that feels good to you, is aligned with your values, and also resonates more with your conscious customers because it's not pushy, ethical, and also beautiful. So if you're a regular here, you know that I'm organizing the conversations around the 7 Ps of humane marketing. And if you're new here and this is your first time, welcome. I'm so excited you're here. You may want to download your one-page marketing plan with the 7 Ps of humane marketing in the form of a mandala at humane.marketing/one page, the number one and page. So again, humane.marketing/one page. And with that, with no further ado, let's dive into today's conversation. Hi, Thomas. So good to see you and speak to you.
Hey, Sarah. I'm really looking forward to our lovely conversation.
Yeah, me too. As I kind of mentioned in the intro, I met you online. Obviously, I found you online when I was looking for a replacement of the brand Gentle Marketing, and I came across your feel good marketing, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. And so I just thought, well, instead of competing, why don't I bring you in and we collaborate instead of compete? So really excited that you accepted my invitation. So as besides feel good marketing, you have a bunch of other hats that you're wearing in business. And one of them that kind of stood out for me is this idea of being an empath. So that's kind of what I made the topic for our conversation, because as a fellow empath, I really feel like it's something that we need to be aware of, because if we're not, it can lead to like serious burnout and overwhelm. So yeah, talk to us about being an empath. Do you remember when you found out, and like, was that a big aha? What happened?
It was a huge aha. It was in the middle of a burnout.
Mm.
So I was at the lowest point in my life. I was looking at the ceiling of my parents' house. I was in my old bedroom and I lost everything. This is how I'd felt. I went back from living in Berlin and being a proud business owner with a business that wasn't really running, but at least I had this identity and all my friends were there, my relationship. And then I just broke together. I was visiting my parents, just wanted to stay for the weekend. And then I couldn't leave the couch and I couldn't stop crying and sleeping. And that was the only thing I did for some time.
Mm.
And then I came across the term high sensitivity and it hit me. And it was when I was reading a book about burnout, and it said like the way to get out of burnout is to find back to yourself. I was like, what does it mean, like finding back to yourself? I have no idea who I am. I think this is the problem. I have never really known myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized this was my biggest fear, to just be myself and to not put on all these roles, fulfill expectations, look around what other people's life look like and then try to copy that, but to just be me. And this is how this roller coaster started of, I think, 3 months of mainly sitting in the forest while looking for some therapy or something that could help me. And this is what helped me, being in nature and just being with myself and facing myself. And I learned a lot about this topic. And then I felt called to also make my business about that. And then it got through the rooftop, like with the 2 people on the very first talk I ever did, to 75 on talk number 12, and people sitting on in the floor and everywhere because they didn't fit in the room anymore. And 15,000 people who saw the Facebook event, and that without me spending a single dollar on marketing.
Wow.
and all my workshops were booked out, like weekend workshops and also evening workshops, and also corporations with a friend where 250 people came to the very first event. And this is when I didn't know too much about marketing. I mean, knew something, but that was before I stumbled about this online marketing world. So the thing was, I could only follow my heart. So I knew something about marketing, but it was mainly, okay, what do I know next? And then I just did it. And yeah.
It's interesting to hear that, yeah, in a way you found yourself before you went on this online marketing journey. For me, I was in the online marketing jungle, and that, I don't know if it was worse, but it was definitely influencing me, and all of this thinking, oh, I have to do it like they do, and I have to be like they are. And so for you, it's already, you found your center, and then you could just follow your heart and do what felt good. For me,
Yes.
I spent 10 years
Yes.
doing what other people are doing, and kind of finding my way back to, the way I want to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or mainly, like I started with online marketing in 2011, or at least in Germany, like it was even, I mean, now when you talk about online business, more people get the idea that you're saying something online. But in 2011 and in Germany, because I know Canada, US are much further ahead, like 3-4 years, it was really crazy because there was not much, but the things I found were much softer. So in 2016, I got into these bigger things like product launch formula, funnels, and all the. I think this is where the craziness started of Facebook ads and like this whole balloon that's, I think, gonna explode soon.
Yeah, you wonder when it will really explode. It's crumbling, but it's not at the point of exploding still. There's still, a big majority of people who follow these big gurus, I think.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see when it really crumbles. Because one thing I think is for sure, and I'd be curious to hear if you agree, this idea of, actually paying attention to who you are. It's almost like COVID gave us a bit more space maybe to do that, because so many people are in this trance of just working and sports and all of that, that you never actually have time. So no wonder people don't know who they are and what's important to them. So did you see kind of a change now for your clients, your business, in even more interest than before due to COVID?
Yes, definitely. And regarding the online marketing space, I see that a lot of people hopped onto these like high level or high price coaching things, or bought some of the stuff that was advertised, like you can use COVID to build your online business quickly and make millions. And now
There's
they
that
are,
too.
now they are at the same point as 1 year before, but feel crushed about like what's going on online, and
Yeah,
can't believe that there's so much rubbish out there. And
right.
this is also where I see where our chance is, because often it's like people first need to make a painful experience of something that doesn't work before being willing to actually take the steps that are needed and invest the work. And I know it's the same for myself. I mean, it's natural, right? We always look for easy solutions,
Yeah.
and we just hope that it works. And we know better in our heart, but we're not ready. So we buy the cheap stuff, whatever it is, to find out it's not lasting, it's not helping. And then we spend twice as much money as we planned before, and it's more work. But then at the end, it's working and it's sustainable. So this is where I see.
Yeah, in my book, I start with this parable of the guy who loses his keys, and he's, somebody passes by, and he's kind of say, can I help you look for the keys? And so they start looking for the keys, and then eventually the person asks, well, are you sure you lost them here? Because we can't find them. And the guy says, no, I lost them over there in the bushes.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, why are we looking here? And he's like, well, that's where the light is. The lamp is right here. That's why the light is. So that's the thing, right? It's like you're always looking for this fast and easy solution where the light is. It's like, oh, but I need to know how to do Facebook ads right now, or how to launch a program. But actually the hard work is the being, not necessarily the doing, because the doing you can learn in 3 weeks, but it's the being that is so much harder. And in an email you wrote to me, inner work first, then results follow, effortless. So tell us more about what you think about that.
Yes, and maybe I use your lovely story to make a point there, which is I would check first, like, did I really lose the keys? Or did I think I lost them? And did I think I need to search them? And there are so many other people searching for the keys. And then I'm doubting myself and thinking, maybe I also lost my keys. And then I start looking, but in the first place, I never lost the keys. They're still in my pocket, right? Or I'm already sitting in the car. It's all imagined that I'm looking for keys and that I need help in it. So this is what I see. And this is also how I facilitate workshops. I know that when I go to the workshops, or now it's online, it's harvesting the fruits. I only have to be there, and I know the rest will just take place. The hard work is the month before, where I feel through all the stuff and get ready to be able to embody what's needed. And this is also where it comes to marketing. For example, it's now a month over, but for 3 weeks, the only thing I did from morning to evening was to go to the forest and literally burn, face all kinds of feelings that were not comfortable at all, go through a lot of energy healing, get a lot of support from friends who are in the same space. And I didn't see any end. It was like, I felt so hopeless. There were panic attacks. There was all kinds of feelings that I'd been avoiding for some years. And it started when I said, okay, I'm ready. Please, God, please, universe, give me what I've been avoiding, because I've been trying to reach a next level now for some time and nothing worked out. So then I stopped and said, okay, I'm ready. Like, now's the time, just give it all to me. Next time I need to be more precise about, like, give it to me step by step and in little bites that I can digest easier. But after these 3 weeks, there was this day where I feel like, okay, it's done. Today I can celebrate. It's over. I'm through. And it was a lot about my childhood and the relationship with my parents. And there wasn't anything like really dramatic. It was more like I never really felt seen in who I am, and with the sensitivity that I have and this quality of being that I rarely see in other people. Like, I feel it in you, and I feel we have something in common, and probably whoever's listening also feels like, whoa, there's something. Maybe I can't even say what it is, but it feels like, oh, I can relax here. Like, there's no push, nor pull, nor I need to be anyone that I'm not. It's just like, oh, like a core relaxation, we could maybe even call it. And I think this is the inner work, like starting with the being and then allowing ourselves to just express who we are, and hopefully not get distracted by too much online marketing. Or, of course, we need stuff like Facebook ads or content marketing, a YouTube channel, a podcast. We need to get out into the world. But what I see is that it's so important to not look around too much, but just follow our heart, follow our guidance, and also face all the fears that brings up. Wait, but I just can't sit here and wait until I get inspired. I need to do something. Like, who says that?
Well, it's because it's uncomfortable, right? To sit with the fears. What you just did for 3 weeks, that is uncomfortable. It's scary as hell, right? That's why that's why we keep adding more things to fill up our time, so that we don't actually have to sit with this fear or whatever anxiety it is. Because, man, it's difficult. But I want to go to the effortless, because that's when it gets interesting. It's like, you've done this. Actually, it's the wrong word. You haven't done the hard work, but you've kind of just been with the hard work, or I don't know how to express this, but you have felt the feelings. That's really what it is, right? You have felt the feelings. And how does that then make it effortless after? I feel the same, but I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate.
Yes. It's this way. When I resist some feelings, or in the end, I resist love, that means I think I'm separate and I need to fight something and I need to change the world. So my thoughts come out of fear. My actions come out of fear. My feelings are fear. My decisions come out of fear. So what fruits am I going to harvest? Right? So it's everything that I'm perceiving is separation, is coming out, it's born out of separation.
Right.
And then I try to overcome separation by action, and it just doesn't work. So what's needed is this like caterpillar turning into butterfly, meaning I need to become aware of where am I blocking love, where do I keep myself separate or imagined as a separate being. And this is the part that's not comfortable, but once it's fell through and seen and realized, then I feel, oh, I can relax. That there never was a problem. I just thought there was one. And then my feelings are love, or an expression of love, like peace, happiness, joy, relaxation. My thoughts are an expression of love. My actions are an expression of love. And my decisions are an expression of love. And then it goes effortless. And it's same with health. I believe that it's natural to be healthy, that we need to do something actively to fight health. And we can see it because only humans and their pets have chronic diseases, right? It's the only species who have chronic diseases. So allowing ourselves to heal and to become heal again is what then leads to, like, okay, our ego gets unemployed. That's the only thing. It's a feeling of losing control, maybe even of dying. But then it's just the expression of who I am it's as abundant as breathing. It's like there was never a lack of oxygen. So yeah.
I think what's tricky is the transition time, because, when I started talking about that, I got resistance from people saying, well, how do we know that gentle marketing or humane marketing actually works? And how do we surrender into that? I need to pay my bills this month. And so it's that transition time that is tricky for people to keep believing that effortless or love or whatever you want to call it is the only way. Even, myself, I'm very transparent with this. I'm rebuilding, starting from scratch, because I had built a business, an online business over 10 years, who just didn't work for me anymore because of the way I was running it. But right now I'm in this transition phase, and every day I need to remind myself of, you're enough, even if there's not enough clients right now, you are enough. And it's that transition phase that I think is difficult for people, because all we see around us is fear and people acting in fear. So what would you say? What would you tell someone who is in that transition phase and is scared that this different way is not going to work for them?
I would tell them that the quickest way, or I think it's clear that there is no going back. It's not possible for us empaths or highly sensitive people. We know it inside.
Right.
But what we often do is this internal movement of, I try to get back. And then our heart says no, and we block ourselves. And then this is where the real pressure rises.
Right. Yeah.
So the moment we go forward, we feel more of the fear, but we also feel in our heart that this is true. And we feel, I'm on my way again. I'm scared like shit. Like I'm literally I'm shaking my boots. I'm shitting in my pants, but I feel this is the place I need to be in.
Yeah.
Right. So it's this, and it gets really juicy there. And also there's nothing wrong with resistance and trying to get back, because this is what I often see, that we just need to make the experience. Sometimes we just need to suffer and find out it's not working. And it's the same thing for me, because often we put pressure on ourselves and think like, oh, I need to be aligned 100% every day. I need to be in my heart all the time. No, like you can still do the old marketing stuff or just do your best. I mean, of course, it's not nice to manipulate people or something like that, and this is not what we want to do, but we can just I think it's really about trusting our hearts and also see where something is coming from. Is it the mind telling me this is not working and it's just something new? Or is it something real that when I cancel these workshops and maybe I have used marketing tactics that were not the very best, like maybe I don't need to cancel this workshop completely because I can still serve people, but it's really like, what can I do in this moment? What's the best thing I can do? And just asking this question. Yeah, and there's so many facets we could dive into and talk for 4 hours.
Yeah, no, but it goes exactly in the same vein as was what I'm responding when people ask me, well, how do we know this works? My counter question is always like, well, does the old way still work for you? And that's exactly what you just said. It's like, if the old way still works for you, why change? Human beings don't change unless something is so broken for us that we just can't go back. So totally aligned with that. Yeah.
And facing that, I think this is the core. Facing the reality that it doesn't work. Facing the reality that there is fear.
Yeah.
And then taking a break. And this is, I mean, it feels counterintuitive and your mind will go crazy, but it's often for me, by now I've trained myself that when I feel I must rush now is really, I must do something. I need to create a whole funnel in one day. Otherwise I'm sitting on the street and can't pay my bill.
Right.
This is the moment where the best thing I can do is to stop, go to the forest, leave my smartphone at home, and give space for all the panic that's there. Because in the end, this is driving the whole show. And when I take a break, then when I can do it, and maybe sometimes it's after 1 week of struggling and doing nonsense because I'm not really productive. I'm pretending to be productive in that fear. But often it's just the thing, after a while, I see like, okay, this isn't working. I admit it. Then I stop. Then I surrender, and suddenly solutions come again. It's like, right? Sometimes it's just feeling one uncomfortable feeling for 1 minute, and then it's like, oh, okay, I'm done. And what? I think I should call this friend, and right. And then stuff is happening, and you wonder, like, how did I ever fit into this little small box? Like, I have no idea how did I do this all the years?
Right.
Like, why did I do this? Yeah, because of the feelings we needed to feel.
Yeah. And I want to just also highlight again what you said is this permission piece to forgive yourself for, the certain marketing strategies that maybe you have been using and that deep inside you knew they weren't really aligned with your values, but you did them anyway. And then not throwing everything out, not throw out the baby with the bathwater and just say, okay, from one day to the next, I change everything and I can only be, ever like, we need to give ourselves permission also to transition slowly and to, basically apply self-care. Making money is self-care. And, we don't want you to end up on the street just because now you're, doing feel-good marketing or humane marketing. So I think that's really important to highlight, that there's no blame that, we are putting on you or you should be putting on yourself either.
Absolutely. Yes. And this is also where it can be so good to, for example, have a guidance by you or by someone else you trust, and that keeps you on track. Because I know how easy it is to go online, to see a Facebook ad, go crazy, like, I'm not using webinars and this is the only way. Yeah. And this is exactly how this old way of marketing is working. It triggers our fear of missing out or greed or whatever. Yeah. And then we're hooked and we lose ourselves.
And then off for another cycle of fear and anxiety. Yeah, so true.
So the shortcut would be to say like, okay, I shut down the internet. I focus on one thing. I decide, for example, I go with humane marketing and I will only do that. And I know it's not only the way of learning the process, but learning the process or the framework that someone gives me and that feels aligned with me will also trigger everything that stands in the way of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because deep inside we feel like this is authentic, and I know deep inside this is my way and it's working.
Right.
But our ego gets triggered and says, no, but I need a funnel now. Right? So we do the first step and then we're sidetracked.
Yeah.
And then we get back after a time and then we take the second step. And maybe sometimes it's needed to have these sidetracks, but also it can really help. And this is an experience I'm just having. I'm in a membership for business. I'm now in month 1 still, and I was about to cancel 2 days ago because I felt like, no, I'm not getting anything out of here, and this is nonsense and blah, blah, blah. I'm glad I didn't, because after allowing these feelings, now I leaned in more, and I saw like, oh, there's this live event coming up now starting tomorrow for 3 days. And oh, they're amazing people, and oh, there's content I didn't even see because I didn't want to see. I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to talk a little bit about this aspect of two things, nature and joy. I feel like from knowing you a little bit, seeing your websites, that is the big focus for you to, yes, be, kind of like also this gentle marketer or humane marketer and bring that, but then resource yourself with nature, with bringing more joy into your business, because after all, we're in business for ourselves, and so why not find it joyful? What's the work you do with your clients on those two aspects?
That's an amazing question. And by the way, it's very rare that someone sees me indoors. So it's only because I didn't have time to go to the forest. Otherwise, I would be sitting also in the forest now for the interview. But yeah, one thing, so there are different layers. Like one is I have different passions. So I'm doing what everyone tells you you shouldn't be doing, which is have completely different offers in different niches. But like I feel I'm so much, I need this, otherwise I get bored. So for me, it's not overwhelm, or it's always a fine balance, right? And it's something I've grown into. But I have this certified course on becoming a forest bathing teacher in Germany, and it shot through the rooftop. So the second workshop, we're the biggest TV station of Germany. We had 2.5 million views.
Wow.
On not paid ads in the biggest station, which is public. So it's also some credibility behind that. And this is what happens when you follow your heart, right? Because we were just like, it felt right to do it. So yeah, I'm teaching people how to do forest bathing or how to become a course instructor on forest bathing.
Nice.
This is one. And the second thing is that by allowing myself more and more deeply to live the way I feel is good for me and that works for me, I spend more time in nature. So it was a process to figure out like, how can I run a business and be in nature all the time? When I started with marketing, I thought I need to wear a suit. So,
Okay.
And I was so sad because I thought, okay, now I'm not doing these personal development workshops anymore. So now I need to get serious and put on a jacket and sit in front of a white wall. And then I recorded some videos. I still have them somewhere. Like I looked at them some months later and thought like, gosh, like this is so not me. This is so inauthentic.
Right.
It's just painful to look at this.
Yeah.
But yeah, when that started, or the more I allow myself to be myself, my business transitions. And then I see, because we often have this thing of, but I can't be me because then I will earn less money or something like that.
Right.
But how will I make money? How will I get clients? So I see that what works for me is 80% of the time I'm sitting in the forest. I'm diving deeper into myself. I'm realizing stuff. Then I shoot a YouTube video, put that out. Or then a name comes or something comes that I then put out into the world. And then people find me. And because we have so much shallow work, or what you could call shallow work, like if you do cat videos and you stop doing that, no one will miss you. But if you, as an empath, as someone who knows deeply, like I have some gifts to bring into this world, like maybe take some time to develop them, and maybe watching cat videos and swiping like this the whole day will not support you in growing into your gifts. So I see that, especially for us, that we feel we have something to give here, it's needed that we retreat and we develop our skills. And also because I love nature so much, and I know I couldn't have like 8 clients per day. I know some other people can do it, but I would burn out on day 2 or maybe 3.
Yeah.
So I needed to change my business model. And what's happening now is that I set up a group coaching in German, and it's just 2 Zoom workshops per month and amazing support. They learn the best tools that I have, and it's scalable. So it's not, so it allows me to have more impact, which is always a value of me. It allows me to have more freedom, allows me to go to the forest, and now it's even needed, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order to guarantee the quality that I'm used to bring, I need to have space and time for myself.
Right.
So it's all interwoven. And this is also something I mentioned because I know that recurring revenue is something most freelancers can't dream of, or I know how it feels to not have recurring revenue. I've never had a full-time job in my life. So I have, until some months ago, I have never had a recurring revenue besides the money that my parents gave me when I was in school, right? Okay, this was recurring.
Yeah.
So it completely changed. It was a transition time again for me in Forest to go from I'm working on project basis and hope next month also clients come to.
Mm-hmm.
I know these are the people that I'm going to support long term if they like, and it's a bunch of them. So my impact is higher. And it's amazing because also the income is higher than working one-on-one with them. So they have a better price. They receive a higher value. So from every perspective, it's way better than what I found in the traditional world. And this is something about nature and inner work to bring it to round the circle. How is it called in English?
Yeah, come full circle. Uh-huh.
Yes. So this is the combination of inner work. Then also we touched on like working smart instead of hard, taking the time to retreat and allow yourself to process and find clarity, and then because then you come up with something which is way better in terms of value than another cat video, but something totally new, maybe, or also a combination of things. It's totally you, it's authentic, and it has a power behind understanding, and you embody it by bam, this is me, this is what I do, and people go like, wow, I've never seen that anywhere else.
Right.
And this is the way also how to stand out then, coming back to marketing.
Yeah, I really appreciate how you shared this journey of building in enough time to come up with things that that are different and sticking with them. And for that, we need that space. For you, it's forest baths. For other people, it may be meditation, whatever it is, right? It needs to be built in, especially if we're empaths or highly sensitive people. I cannot highlight enough the importance of, kind of analyzing your energy. I'm writing the second book about selling, and I have people think about their sales energy. Like all we hear in traditional sales book is like, you gotta sell all the time basically, and schedule all these phone calls. I'm like, well, no, that would not work for me at all. And so you really need to be aware of your own sales energy. And again, this is not for us to say, this is the only way. If you are, highly extroverted, for example, you get energy from being with other people and having conversations. But for introverts or oftentimes empaths are introverts, but not always. But just like we get resourced by space and nature. And thanks so much for sharing that journey. Maybe to come full circle in our conversation, if you had to give a highly sensitive entrepreneur or an empath just kind of like your word of advice, where would you start? What would you want to tell them that is important for them?
I think especially in the context that we're living in now, it's focus and follow your heart and surround yourself with people that you resonate with. The first is focus. I think it's crazy to where we have come regarding social media and screen addictions, etc. I just became aware of that in the last months. It increased again for me. So, for example, if you put out your phone outside the room you're working in, it increases your productivity by 24%. That means you do the same work in 6 hours that you normally do in 8 hours, just by having the phone in the same room. It doesn't even need to be switched on.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
And isn't that crazy? So you could save like nearly a quarter of your time every day by just putting the phone outside. And there's much more. But it's like there's so much craziness going on in the online space.
Right.
And it's set up to trigger all of our deepest desires, all of our fears. So it would be crazy to say, I'm aware, I will just stay centered. I see these amazing promises of the high price coaching things where I could be rich immediately. No, I will just say no and now sit for 4 hours trying to figure out how to set up some tech part that I really hate.
Right.
It's not going to happen, right? Sooner or later, you find yourself sidetracked again.
Yeah.
So it's really important to just shut down everything that's not helpful. And for example, I'm using Facebook Purity. It's a Chrome extension to get rid of everything in Facebook. There's a distraction-free tube, which turns YouTube into a search engine. So I can search for videos and I don't see any ads. I don't see any related videos. I don't see any comments. I only see the description. That way, I got rid of my YouTube addiction. For me, it was YouTube. I don't have Instagram, nothing else.
Right.
So this is really important. And then the second thing, surround yourself with people that are like you. And for example, listen to this amazing podcast, right? Because especially for highly sensitive or empathic people, it's like we connect also energetically with who we meet. And probably you don't want to connect with these slimy salespersons that are telling you that you need a funnel, right? But it's not happened consciously. So it's so important to have this like circle of support and these like-minded people.
And what's interesting, if I can just chime in here, what's interesting is once you start to do that, the universe or whatever you want to call it just keeps sending you these people that are aligned with you.
Yes.
It's like, you and I would have never met before, but since I'm in this focus of, being this way, all of a sudden all these connections happen and you're like, where were all these people before? So it's fascinating. Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is something I would invest in and probably also monetary, or I'm doing that. And I see I have been struggling for around 10 years in my business because I thought I have to do it all by myself. And for me, business and money is probably the biggest challenge in this life. I don't know why, but it's just how it is, right? We all have our areas of challenges. For me, health is pretty easy. I've never been sick. It's just, I'm healthy. So I should have leaned in and reached out for support much, much earlier. It would have saved me so much. And the thing there is that often we put our money in stuff we don't need, like software that's limited discount lifetime for only today. Something like that. I would get rid of all of that and say, okay, I invest in coaching and consulting where I feel resonance and I feel this is aligned and true for me, because there's so much free software, right? So by just saving the money, buying stuff you don't need, you have the money to invest in the consulting or the coaching or the community that saves you so many years, so much struggle. And this is where I would put my commitment in and say okay, even though my heart is beating faster, because I know this is also the place where probably some fears will come up and dissolve. And then there's just love, but this is the way to go.
It's almost though like as we all need to kind of go through this thing where it just doesn't work, kind of like we said before, you need to get to this point where it's like, this is not working for me anymore. I find it's like the same with business building. Over and over, people say on my podcast, yeah, I had this and this many years when I finally started to hire a coach, because you're just trying and trying to do it all yourself. And like everybody tells you, well, you should probably start with a coach at the very beginning, but then it's always this thing with the money. Yeah, but I don't have the money. Yeah, but you would get to somewhere much faster. Anyway, it's the chicken and the egg, really.
It is.
Yeah. Interesting. Did you want to add anything else? I think you had like a list of 3. I don't know if we covered them all now. You started with focus, and then
and then
kind of got lost in the focus. Community. Okay. Yeah.
But I think this is the thing. And sometimes also when there's not much money, I mean, what I've done is I've been traveling the world. And I don't understand why more people are doing this. I've just offered my work for free. I've said like, hey, I love your work. I'd love to support you. And that way I was learning. And there are always possibilities, like always. This is what I believe. And at least you can try. So if money is tight, then yes, there are other resources you can bring in. And often it's like offering some work for free in exchange for a learning experience. Something I've learned so incredible much. I can't put it into words. So there's always the opportunity. It's just a question of how to make it happen. But maybe
that's a whole other conversation, which is really good to have, because it's really about this human conversation about pricing. It's like, well, yes, this is my price, but if the other person says I can't afford that, well, we're 2 humans. Let's talk about it. But we'll have to like come with a second episode, maybe, something like that.
But I think the one point, when I would boil it down to one point, it would really be connect with the people you feel aligned with. Listen to the podcast, like get all the free material, everything that you find. And here's the thing, why? Because if you feel uncertain, you feel like the next step is coming in your business, and you don't know what to do, then you orient on an energetical level and with your thoughts and your heart towards people who know. And what you can decide is this the guy on social media that showed me his Ferrari and I think like, oh, he knows, I follow his advice? Or
I know the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, right. Okay, by now there are thousands of them, right? And they all have so many books in their shelves, but yes. Or is it that your mind goes like, whoa, I feel overwhelmed. I don't know, but these guys here know. They are my friends. They are so open-hearted. This is where I belong. And just by tuning into their energy or thinking what would they do, we can get this sense of orientation and like borrow safety orientation. And right. So we still don't know, but we know there's someone who has already done it and we can trust that.
Right.
And this can be the difference between building a fake business that like you feel you're selling your soul, or knowing like, okay, like it's still the same challenges. It's still the same feeling. It's just the question, where do I go? Where do I move towards?
Right.
And this is why I think it's so important to connect with the right people. Like this is the number one. Everything else will follow or fall into place by itself, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue to tell people where they can connect with you and about your community. I think I know that it's in German right now only, but there's probably an option to work with you in English as well. So tell us about it.
Yes. So for now, the biggest option to work with me in English is one-on-one or just consulting or coaching, where I have always some spots. I'm still thinking about building an online presence in English, and I've also recorded some YouTube videos. But maybe learning some German is also a nice experience.
Yeah.
Or yeah, or maybe just connect on LinkedIn or on any social media channel. Because I feel that sometimes it's also my YouTube videos. I think there's automatic subtitles or something, and it's mainly about like inner growth, inner work, not so much yet about marketing. But often it's also just seeing someone and tuning in with the energy and allowing yourself to receive from that. Yeah,
It's true. Yeah. So we'll link to your websites and YouTube and all of that good stuff. I always ask one last question, and that is, what are you grateful for today or this week?
today and just right now, I'm really grateful for this amazing talk we're just having, this amazing conversation and the connection that came out of the blue, how it always is when the good stuff happens. So I feel really grateful for that, and it already made my day, even though it's just the day hasn't really just started, but it's really pretty amazing.
Likewise. Yeah, really appreciate it as well. Thank you so much for coming on to the Humane Marketing Podcast, and let's stay in touch. You're our kind of people.
Yes, and thank you so much for doing the podcast. And I mean, I can say because I know how it is to build a business and then to have to rebrand it and build it from scratch again. I mean, we as entrepreneurs, we know how much time it needs, how much effort it is, and it's not something because everything or so much is free on the internet that we get used to it. But I just want to say thank you for reaching out and for bringing this by sharing your gift with the world, because it has an impact, it makes a difference. So thank you for that.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for watching and being part of a generation of marketers who cares for yourself, for your clients, and for the planet. We really are change makers before we are marketers. So go ahead, be the change you want to see in the world. And I hope to see you again next week. Take care.